You're listening to XVGM Radio.
Welcome to XVGM Radio, where the bits keep coming. I'm Justin.
And I'm Mike.
And this is episode 50, Listener Picks.
Oh man. Congratulations, Justin. You survived a podcast with me for 50 episodes.
Amazing. It's almost been 2 years.
Yeah. 2 whole years. 2 exciting, wonderful, fun-filled years, full of plenty of laughs, plenty of awesome tunes, plenty of great commercials, and of course, Janine.
Oh yes, Janine. Janine, of course, brought us in on this episode by rolling some dice for us, and she will be doing so for the rest of the episode. So we have 13 total tracks that we got from listeners that emailed us and provided us with a testimonial, as well as what they wanted to hear. So how we're going to do this is Janine's going to roll some dice and then tell us which track to play, and then we will go from there.
Yeah, we technically don't pick this many tracks, but we thought, you know what? Why not? It's our fan appreciation episode. We appreciate you guys for tuning in, and so we thank you by selecting all of the tracks that were picked and sent to us, and we're going to play them all, and we're going to talk about them all.
Yes. It's going to be a good time. So
Agreed.
One other thing that we're going to do, we normally have commercials in the episodes. We're not going to have a normal commercial this episode, but what Mike and I are doing is we are picking 2 each of our favorite commercials from the last 50 episodes. So
That's
Mike has
right.
picked 2, I've picked 2, and we're just going to play them and laugh about them.
Yes, yeah, we'll probably have some sort of nostalgic conversation about what we were smoking / drinking when we wrote these. Delicious. You may be wondering, well, you guys previously in the last episode sounded a little different, and in this episode you also kind of sound a little different. We are, of course, still impacted by the coronavirus, COVID-19, and so everyone is practicing, or everyone should be practicing social
Distancing.
Yes. That's the word. Thank you, Justin. So we are recording from our respective homes, watching each other creepily through video cam, and recording this. We're doing this a little different than last time. Last time we just tried to record everything in one lump of a track.
Yep.
And it kind of sacrificed, unfortunately, because I'm using a mixer and Justin's using our old form of recording when we first started, which is a Blue Yeti or Yeti mic.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's still using the Yeti mic, but we are recording separate now. We're going to merge everything together. It's a little bit more additional work, but it's going to be worth it because it's going to sound better. So you're going to notice a much better sound increase from the episode 49.
Indeed.
Yeah. So what did we come in on, Justin?
So we came in on a track that was picked by Mr. Daniel Laughton. The track was Mission 2-1. The game was Blazing Chrome, which came out on the Switch, the PS4, the Xbox One, and Windows systems in 2019, and it was composed by Dominic Ninmark and Tiago Santos.
That's right. Have you played this one?
I have not. This is really new, and I don't think I've played much new stuff other than I think Shakedown Hawaii might be the newest thing that I've grabbed.
Okay. This game is a very clear homage to Contra Hard Corps, I would say specifically, or Contra 3: The Alien Wars, and it's a lot of fun. It's a really good game, a really awesome run and gun, so if you like run and guns, you'll dig this game, and the soundtrack is phenomenal, as you just heard, styled in the traditional Japanese action music sound that's very bombastic, very big and booming.
There were a number of things that I thought sounded really fun in this, and it's funny because I looked up some gameplay footage, and I see now the type of run and gun that it is, but while we were listening to the track, I did not know what this was, but the music kind of made me think run and gun. So music definitely appropriate. I like the synth hits that they do. I didn't really notice them until the end of the song, but once my brain picked up on them, I was like, oh yeah, there's that fun little sound.
Yeah. I also get callbacks to Appleseed with this one, because you've got the blonde-haired girl, and then you've got the robot guy. And this robot guy happens to have like a mohawk, and it's a really cool run and gun game that I think anybody would dig if they played it, if they're into running guns, or if you're into Contra, really.
As far as this track goes, from Dan, he wrote us to say that I got addicted to Blazing Chrome speedrunning recently, and the killer soundtrack really helps. I picked a song at random because it's all stellar. For me, what really sells this track are those drums. You get a taste for them immediately, and they persist the entire time to really guide the song. It really helps set the tone for the fast-paced motorcycle ride while you are taking on those baddies.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. For those of you who didn't know, Dan actually was on our more recent episode that we did, where we talked about Falcion and Crisis Force.
Yep, I think that was 47.
Unleashed in the East. Yes, 47. So we thank Dan for not only his patronage, but also him joining us on that episode and selecting this track for this episode.
Heck yeah.
This is not just patrons.
Nope.
There are some patrons on here, but there are also lots of non-patrons who did reach out to us who wanted to play a track. So we thank you for doing that.
And we're actually playing every track that was submitted. So we got a total of 13 tracks.
Yep,
so
we're playing all 13.
Everybody got in. So as far as the composers go, Dominic Ninmark is one of two people, and they started doing music on a game called Bot Vice in 2016, then went on to do the soundtrack for Strikey Sisters in 2017, Vivette in 2018, and finally Blazing Chrome in 2019.
That's right, and Tiago Santos was the other composer, and they did Blazing Chrome in 2019, and before that, their only other game was Odalis, The Dark Call in 2015.
Nice.
All right, well, let's have Janine roll those dice, so that way we can try to determine what track we are picking next. We've put all the tracks on a list, and we are going through that to see which one we'll play next. So, Janine, if you will, please.
All right, that's going to be track number 9. So this is going to be Joel Berube's pick. This is X-Men Children of the Atom, which came out in the arcades in 1994, Sega Saturn in 95, DOS in 1997, and PlayStation 1 in 1998. The track is called Avalon, also known as Magneto's theme, and it was composed by Takayuki Iwai, Shun Nishigaki, Hideki Okugawa, and Isao Abe.
All right, you are back, and that was X-Men Children of the Atom. That came out on the arcade, Sega Saturn, MS-DOS, and PlayStation 1, and respective years of release were 94, 95, 97, and 1999. That song was Avalon Magneto's theme, and it's by Takayuki Iwai, Shun Nishigaki, Hideki Okugawa, and Isao Abe. And that was Joel Berube's pick. So why don't we first find out why Joel picked this track. So Joel writes, I have a hard time thinking of a video game tune I've listened to more than this specific one. I played Marvel Superheroes a lot decades ago, and while I saw a video about this game, I sought it out and spent countless hours beating the game with the whole roster. Possibly the part of the game that stuck with me the most is the fantastic theme for Magneto, the game's final boss. In addition to the track's incredible energy, it creates a mood that inspires awe, quite fitting considering how ridiculously overpowered Magneto ends up being. Additionally, the song's outstanding intensity creates this mood as if the entire world hangs in the balance. You are on Avalon and have a view of Earth, after all. I have a hard time thinking of a video game track I've listened to more than this specific one, as both the normal version from the game and a soundtrack version with a special opening have had countless plays on my iTunes. Helping the music tremendously is the presentation of the final stage itself. You're overlooking the Earth from up in Avalon, and Magneto makes a memorable and dramatic entrance before utterly crushing you for quite a few rounds until you discover some patterns and weaknesses in the AI. Hint, sweep the leg.
Always sweep the leg.
Always sweep the leg. The stage itself even has multiple segments that Magneto can arbitrarily move to on a whim. The last fight, and the game itself, really captures what makes Capcom so exceptional among video game companies, as well as the fine craftsmanship that they would employ for their well-regarded Marvel series, and shows why the titular comic book company had made a wise investment. I haven't played all the games in the series, but I doubt I'll spend as much time on any of them as I have on the one that started it all. Very well written, Joel.
Yes.
I gotta say, this track definitely does strike fear into the hearts of players. I get a very serious vibe from it, but at the same time, it kind of bugs me that certain parts of the song are like off time, and it's those keyboard stings. It's those like dun dun. They're not like synth hits. They're just like
they're stings.
Yeah, they're like dun dun dun, and like if the whole song was off time, I'd be like cool, because I can handle stuff like that. But it's not 4/4. It's something. But it has that classic Capcom sound with the shredding synth guitars and everything.
Yeah, those really buzzy guitars.
I love that sound. And here it's represented so well. It's just that keyboard that sounds slightly off timing wise. And I don't know if that was designed intentionally to like create an intense feel to it. If that's true, it was mission accomplished.
And say it's probably in there as a tension builder. To be honest, I hadn't really even noticed that they were off time. Something seemed off, but I didn't notice what you noticed.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't know. For whatever reason, it like really kind of bugged me. But the song overall is great. I really dig that classic Capcom sound for the guitars and everything. You know, most of the music, as Joel said, in these Capcom fighting games, the Marvel series, is just phenomenal. It's all really good stuff. Yeah, the Versus fighting series, this I believe was the first one to kick it off. It was either this one or Marvel Superheroes. I can't remember which one.
Oh yeah, and then it expanded to like Marvel versus Street or X-Men versus Street Fighter, and then Marvel
it was X-Men versus Street Fighter, Marvel versus Capcom. Yeah. So we have a bunch of composers on this one, starting off with Takayuki Iwai. Takayuki Iwai started off with Dungeons & Dragons Tower of Doom in 1993 as the music composers. Then afterwards they followed it up with this game in 94, as well as the Darkstalker series, where they were a composer on for the very first Darkstalkers. Then they followed it up with Armored Warriors in 94, and continued working on the Darkstalker series all the way up until the third and final entry, at least in terms of like dedicated sequels. And let's jump way up to their final game, which is Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix, which is a credit for the original Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. They're basically considered a music composer and arranger, but the 2 years before that they did Samurai Legend Musashi in 2005, and they were considered a composer on that one.
Nice. All right, and Shun Nishigaki think we know them fairly well. They started out in 1991 doing Captain Commando as sound and sound sub. Is how they are credited there. We will jump up. They did a number of the different fighter series and puzzle fighter games. So Street Fighter Alpha Warrior's Dreams in 1995. They did music composition. And then Resident Evil 2 in 1998, we're jumping up a bit. They did music composition there, and their last credit also is Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix in 2008, likely for the original music in Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
Cool. Next up is Hideki Okajima, who started off again in 1993 with Dungeons & Dragons Tower of Doom, working with the previous composer that I talked about. Then they followed it up in 94 with Alien vs. Predator. They did a bunch of other games throughout, but most notably they were a main composer on Onimusha 2 and Onimusha 3. And then let's jump way up to their final composer track listing for Resident Evil 5 Gold Edition, which came out in 2019, recently on all the newer systems, Switch, PS4, etc.
Yeah. Isao Abe started doing sound design in Street Fighter II, The World Warrior in 1991. Then they did, we've talked about them before because they've done Cadillacs and Dinosaurs in 1993. Yes.
You said it.
Yes, of course. We'll also go with Spawn in the Demon's Hand in 2000, and most recently Devil May Cry 4 Refrain in 2011.
Yep. Very good, very good. All right, Janine, go ahead and roll those dice. All right, so it looks like Janine picked UtopiaNemo's request, which is from a game called Heavy Nova. This song is called Rebel Boss 2-1 Garo SXD07RR. What? That is a very complex name.
Wow, yeah.
That came out on the Sega CD and the Sega Genesis and the Sharp X68000. And then 1991 and 1992. The music was by Studio River Kids, Toshimasa Ijima, Shaka, and Naoko on vocals.
Welcome back. That was Heavy Nova. The track was Rebel Boss 2-1 Garo And then SX-D07RR, that was requested by UtopiaNemo, and that game came out on the Sega CD in 1991 and the Genesis and Sharp X68000 in 1992, and was composed by Studio River Kids, Toshimasa Iijima, Shaka, and Naoko on vocals.
You got it.
I do.
Good stuff.
Very good stuff. Very
what did you think of this song?
Funky. Very fresh. Very funky fresh.
Very funky fresh?
Yes. The bass had a slap bass vibe to it, and I mean, I always bring it up whenever I hear it because it's something I like, so good job on that one.
Yeah, for sure. I got a vibe from, like, Outrun. Like, all the Outrun games, like Magical Sound Shower or whatever.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's got that, like, very, like, late disco era, like, kind of moving into funk vibe.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because I could picture people dancing to this, like, in the disco, you know. But then it kind of moves into, it's like that post-disco, like, hip-hop kind of old school sound to it. It's got dun 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 dun. Like, if you added a backbeat to that, it would be totally a hip-hop song, like from the early 80s.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like this, it kind of almost sounds like cruising music at times.
Yeah,
and
sure.
it just looking back at the title of the track, I'm like, Rebel Boss, like, is this a boss track? That's surprising, only because it doesn't feel like boss music to me. It
right.
feels like it's a great song, and I really dig this. But I'm surprised if this is a boss track.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. This version, I believe, is the Sega Genesis version of the song. It doesn't make sense if it's unless there's no Red Book audio on this track. And the Mega CD version's the same as the Mega Drive Genesis version. This game did not come out on the Sega CD. It came out on the Mega CD, just to clarify.
Oh,
It never
okay.
came out in the US.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah,
so that was a mistake on my part.
Yeah. But it did come out in the US on the Genesis. And, of course, Japan got it on the Sharp X68000. But yeah, I believe this is the Genesis version that we're playing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure as well. As far as what UtopiaNemo has to say about this song, he says, "Hey guys, happy 50th episode, and here's to many, many more.
Yay!
My request is Rebel Boss 2-1 Garo SX-D07RR from the game Heavy Nova. This is an interesting one because I only barely remember playing this game on a rental once, and it was terrible. Furthermore, with two exceptions, the OST is similarly forgettable. The first exception is a song that, in contrast to every other song on the OST, sounds like a Rob Hubbard track.
Okay.
The other exception is this track. The part A is fine, having a catchy melody and a good rhythm, but nothing stellar. Then the B part kicks in. I don't know how or why, but that B part grabs me in the feels and won't let go. The weird breakdown and the high emotional lead and its brassy backing pad, and especially the magical little fill in the third bar of the B part. I have listened to just this track for entire car trips." That's amazing.
That sounds familiar. I've definitely done stuff like that.
Yeah. Usually by the end of the car trip, I hit the song, so that's amazing.
Yeah, I gotta say, I also really dig the like parts where like the music completely drops out. That really kind of caught my ear because you don't hear a lot of that, especially in modern music. So that dun 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 dun, like when it drops out like that, it's really cool.
I really like the part where it kind of broke down into like they went from I don't think they changed time signatures, but it felt like they shifted from like using regular chord notes to using triplets. Either that or they changed time signatures, but I really dug that.
That was cool. Yeah, I agree. Apparently you play as this like robot. It's kind of like a combination of a fighting game and like a side-scrolling platformer. But you have different like elements of missions. You have to fight these other characters called Heavy Dolls, and there's a combat training camp where you do these platformer stages. I don't know, never heard of it. Black Hole Assault is the sequel. Came out in '92. Shortly after that, this just feels like Sega. You know, it just sounds like Sega. So I get a Sega vibe.
That's fair.
So let's talk about the composers.
So, Studio River Kids, I'm actually having trouble finding anything about them. All I'm really seeing is this game and Black Hole Assault. That's really all I see for Studio River Kids.
Yeah, I came up with the same for Toshimasu Ijima.
Gotcha.
Only those two games.
Huh. And Shaka has Curse from 1989. They did music there. Junction in 1990. Heavy Nova in 1991. Black Hole Assault in 1992.
Okay. And then Naoko, I couldn't find any info on. But again, we're not really talking about Naoko anyways because we didn't play the version with vocals. So
Right. That would have been the Sega CD version. So.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. So before we move on to another track, let's give a listen into some of our previous commercials. As I said earlier, I picked out 2 and Mike picked out 2. So first we're going to play a commercial that's honestly one of my favorites. This is from episode 28, which was all about the Namco chip. This commercial is the Bob Meowki's Exterminator commercial.
Hey there, my name's Bob Meowkies. I'm a husband, a father, a cat. Meow. But most importantly, I'm an exterminator. Do you have a mouse problem in your mansion? Trying to get rid of those pesky mice? Who also somehow happens to be a policeman? Stand up for your rights and hire Meowki's Murder Squad. We're a family-owned team since 1983 who are dedicated to eradicating your rodent problem in the most delicious of ways. Hiring us is the way to go, so give us a call. 81900 at 1-900-163-1983 or send us an email at meowkeysms@geocities.gov. Help us help you.
Jesus. I love that commercial so much.
Oh, wow.
What?
Where do I start? Okay, so I remember we were trying to come up with stuff to write for this commercial, or for this, and I think we lined it up with Mappy Kids.
Yes,
because I know we
was
were
a Mappy
trying
Kids
to
thing.
Yeah, this was the Mappy Kids track that we played for the Namco episode, for the Namco 163 chip. I remember writing this, and both of us just like hysterically laughing.
Yeah, no, the script was great, and then it got even better when we went to record it, and like you made a couple like stutters or mistakes, and we were just like, no, leave them in. Like the deadpan delivery, just like the monotone, everything that meow.
The meow. I think that was your idea.
I think
you were like, yo, you got to just like say meow. Don't, because I think I wrote meow, but you were like, you should just say meow instead.
Yes.
And we've gotten a lot of compliments about that commercial.
Yeah, I really think this is one of our best, if not the best. This is definitely one of our best commercials.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Janine, roll those dice. Let's pick another lucky listener's request.
All right, so Janine has picked Mariamaguchi's pick. This is going to be from the game Celeste, which came out on the Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and Windows in 2018. The track is called Star Jump, and it was composed by Lena Rain.
Hey everybody, welcome back to XVGM Radio's Listener Request episode. This track that we just heard was from Celeste. That came out on the Switch, the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and Windows in 2018. The track was Star Jump, and it's by Miss Lena Rain. I gotta say, this song and this soundtrack always kind of blows me away. The more I listen to it, the more I am just falling in love with this soundtrack in this game. I've not played further than when I spoke about Celeste last, which was when I picked a track for our winter episode, our winter tracks episode.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I haven't really played that much since, but this kind of made me, like, while I'm listening to it, I'm like, oh man, I forgot how good this soundtrack is. I need to get back into playing this game. It's a fun game. I mean, I talked a lot about it on the episode, but you're essentially playing as this girl named Madeline, who is trying to climb Mount Celeste, and you end up meeting up with your evil Madeline counterpart, and that's as far as I've gotten. It's just a really, like, I don't know, spacey?
Yeah.
Spacey. If you've
agree.
ever heard, there's a group called Zombie, and I believe it's Z-O-M-B-I, I believe. They are a, like, space prog rock group, but they use a lot of, like, Moog synthesizers and stuff. It sounds basically like all the soundtracks from all the, like, Dario and Argentino, like, horror films made by Goblin. It's kind of like that, except not as 70s-ish, more 80s-ish.
Yeah.
That's kind of the vibe that I get from the music. I love those drums, like, just really deep. The backbeat on there is just tight, really tight. And just those keys, you know, the whole song comes in really soft, but then it ends in such ferocity. It's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I really like the build-up of this. It was palpable. Just, it was really, really well done, really cool. Like, I was noticing the buzziness of sort of like the synth and the Moog, and then I realized that it reminds me a lot of the music from the first Tron movie.
Oh, yes.
Like, very much so. And then even as you get towards, like, the middle the middle end of the song, you've got that, like, that low buzzing sound, and just that as well takes me back to the movie Tron. It sounds like the sound of the recognizers as they're moving around, just like that low droning. And it was just really cool to kind of, like, be brought back to that. And then, like, those drums kicked in, and it just went nuts.
Yeah. And you haven't played this one, right? You still haven't played it?
I have not, no.
Dude, you got to get on that, man.
I'm gonna have to. The soundtrack is fantastic.
It's so good. It's crazy. The soundtrack gets a lot of love, and it's well-deserved.
Yeah, no, it sounds it.
For sure.
While we're on the subject, just to get this out of the way, Lena Rain has done the music for Celeste, obviously, in 2018, and Panic at the Multiverse High in 2016.
She also did Guild Wars 2.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I was going to say she had a special thanks in Guildings in 2019.
Cool. All right, so the track was picked by our listener, Mariamaguchi. So I don't know if that's a play on Mariamaguchi, who is a Japanese composer for Capcom, or if it is a Anamanaguchi reference. But either way, great taste.
Yes.
So Maria writes, hello and happy 50th episode. The track I picked is Star Jump from Celeste. I love this game, but I'm honestly a beginner at playing video games, and this game was really difficult, for me at least. It also doesn't help that I'm not the most competitive or persevering people, so I'm ashamed to say I resorted to assists after the second level. The music from this game is totally awesome, but sadly it didn't really motivate me to stop cheating and play it to the best of my abilities for more than a couple minutes. This track was really special though. When we bought the album, I kept listening to it and wondering how this amazing music didn't encourage me to keep pushing on, no matter how many discouraging times I died or how long it took me to get past a single stage. If I play this game again, perhaps after I play more games that are easier, I will tackle it head on without any assist except the power of great music.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, and don't worry about using assists, seriously.
Yeah, no, I love using the Konami code in any of the Konami games that I play, because why not have extra lives or invincibility or whatever you get in whatever game?
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I mean, play the game the way you feel most comfortable, and if that is the way that you feel most comfortable, no shame in that.
Yep.
All right, so we're going to move on to our next pick. So, Janine, go ahead and roll those dice for us. All right, so John Sowell's pick is Battle from Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torna, the Golden Country. This came out on the Switch in 2018. It's by Yasunori Mitsuda and the company Ace, which a lot of these composers are from, Tomori Kudo, Hiroyo Yamanaka, Kanji Hiramatsu, and Manami Kiyota.
Welcome back. That was John Sowell's pick. It was from Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torna, The Golden Country, which came out on the Switch in 2018. The track was Battle with 2 exclamation points, and is composed by Yasunori Mitsuda, Ace, Tomori Kudo, Hiroyo Yamanaka, Kenji Hiramatsu, and Manami Hiyota. This track, super bright and jazzy.
Oh, for sure. I
like this one. I've not played Xenoblade Chronicles 1 or 2. I think I have 1.
On the Wii?
Yes, okay. I have the original. And I just have not been able to play it.
Any specific reason, or?
Time. Totally time.
I hear you. I was pumped for the first one, and I got it when it came out, and I played it for probably about 20-30 hours or so. And I thought it was one of the best RPGs I've played since Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. Because I don't play many RPGs, obviously. But I was really loving it. I love the characters. The voice acting was phenomenal. And I picked up 2 that was one of the first games that I picked up when I got a Switch. But I have not picked up this expansion because I have not beaten the second game. I think I'm like 2 chapters in to Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Okay, so this is an expansion for the second game.
Yes, there is a standalone expansion that was released for it, but you can also download it digitally as well. I think there are some different characters in it as well. I don't know, but Xenoblade 2, just to speak on that, you're playing as this character who basically dives for treasure, and he gets hired on to find this very, very specific treasure. And it turns out to be this woman who is also like a blade, like they call them like blades, or if I recall. So he gets killed in battle, and she gives him a portion of herself to like basically restore his life. And so he has like a chip or jewel or whatever embedded in him. You're meeting just a bunch of random characters that you're, accompanying on this journey. The story's really good. The voice acting is great. There's a little more fan service, I would say, in this one than in the first one, in Xenoblade Chronicles 1. But overall, it's pretty good. I would say I've liked the first game better, though, so far. Yeah.
But you haven't finished the first game.
I have not. So I don't know anything, unfortunately, about this expansion, but wow, this music was great.
Yes.
Really phenomenal. Very Cowboy Bebop, space cowboy style, jazz.
Yeah, I really like the heavy use of the piano in this one.
I was actually really digging the bass. That there's a point where I just zoned out during the song while we were listening to it, and the bass was just doing the, and I was just digging it. It was so good.
Yeah. So John had this to say about the track when he submitted to us. He said, "I chose the song because its jazzy tune is a one-of-a-kind jam that complements the gameplay."
Yep, that's it. So, short and sweet.
It's all you need.
Yep.
It's really cool. So the composers on this one, Yasunori Mitsuda, has a long list. Started out doing Final Fantasy V, doing the sound effects in that in 1992. Jumped into music for Chrono Trigger in 1995, and then we'll say Chrono Cross in 1999, and most recently was a guest composer on Final Fantasy 15 Episode Ignis in 2017.
So the group Ace, who we labeled earlier in the break, Ace is actually comprised of 3 different composers: Tomori Kudo, Hiroyo Yamanaka, and Kenji Hiramatsu, who we just were going to mention anyways, so here they are.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
So Tomori Kudo started doing sound support in Robopon Sun version in 1998. And then looks like they stepped away for a while and came back to do Xenoblade Chronicles in 2010. They did the music on that. And then Super Smash Bros. For the 3DS in 2014, they did music arrangement. A Fantasy Life in 2014, they did music composition and synth programming. And then finally, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 in 2017, they did the music.
Hiroyo Yamanaka started with Bomberman 64 The Second Attack as a music composer, and then followed it up wow, 10 years later almost, in 2010 with Xenoblade Chronicles with the first one. Also did the opening theme to Code of Princess, did some work on Smash Brothers for the 3DS specifically, some arrangements, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and a game prior to that called Fantasy Life.
And then Kenji Hiramatsu started out as well on Bomberman 64, The Second Attack in 1999, then went on to do Xenoblade Chronicles 1 in 2010, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 in 2017, and finally Final Fantasy 15 episode Arden in 2019 as the main composer.
Manami Kiyota started off working in the Japanese music industry in 2002 when she formed the band Yuna with a friend from college. And she's mostly known for doing work with Final Fantasy Songbook as a vocalist and lyricist, but she also has done arrangements for Super Smash Brothers, and then she did Xenoblade Chronicles, and that's pretty much it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So Janine, why don't you go ahead and let us know what to do next?
Alright, so it looks like Janine rolled for Kevin Lundberg, and we're going to be playing a track from Cadence of Hyrule, which he has requested. The track is called Overworld Combat. It came out on the Switch in 2019. A lot of Switch stuff so far, and that soundtrack was composed by Danny Baranowski.
XVGM Radio, where the bits just keep coming.
Welcome back. That was Kevin Lundberg's pick, Cadence of Hyrule, which was the Switch game that came out in 2019. The track was Overworld Combat and was composed by Danny Baranowski, with the original compositions composed by Minako Hamano, Kozue Ishikawa, Kazumi Totaka, and Koji Kondo.
Of course. Have to mention Koji Kondo in that. I feel like I just listened to every Zelda song ever. It was a great little medley.
Yeah, this felt very much like the original Legend of Zelda, but being sort of brought through a couple different dance beat styles.
Yeah. The initial music was from Link's Awakening, which that's where those credits are there. And then I think most of the stuff was from Link's Awakening, aside from when it kicked into the regular overworld music from the first Zelda.
Right.
Which is why we credited Koji Kondo. I don't think we need to talk about Koji Kondo. He's done so much music for Nintendo.
Yes.
Mario, Zelda, you name it, he's done it.
Pretty much, yeah. No, we've talked about him extensively in the past.
But Danny Baranowski, we've not talked too much about.
Danny is a newcomer to this podcast. Danny started out doing music in Meat Boy Map Pack in 2008, as well as Meat Boy in that same year. A handful of things here. Let's go to Cannibalt in 2009. I remember playing that. He did music in The Binding of Isaac in 2011, and most recently, aside from Cadence of Hyrule, is credited as doing music for Glittermitten Grove in 2016.
He also did Crypt of the Necrodancer, if I recall, which is the game that this is based off of.
Exactly, yep.
Yeah,
he was the composer on that.
Yeah, he also did game design on it, too.
Oh, yeah.
Which makes sense, because isn't it a music-based game? It's like a rhythm-based game similar to this?
Yeah, Cadence of Hyrule is basically, and I haven't played it, so don't kill me if I'm wrong here, but my understanding is Cadence of Hyrule is basically Crypt of the Necrodancer with a Zelda overhaul. So
yeah, pretty much.
Zelda sort of stories, Zelda music, Zelda characters. Pretty cool. Like I like Crypt of the Necrodancer, and I want to get Cadence of Hyrule. I'm just there's so many games that I want to get. It's like I don't know if I'm going to actually have time to sit down and play it.
I see it on sale, not Cadence of Hyrule, but I see Crypt of the Necrodancer on Switch on sale on the eShop all the time. And I'm always like, should I get it? Should I get it? And everybody who's listening to this is probably screaming, yes.
Yeah,
I mean, for the love of all VGM, get it. But
if you like rhythm games, it's an interesting take on a rhythm game. The whole idea is that you are moving. Everything that you're doing is supposed to be to the rhythm, and you get bonuses for doing that. Your damage stacks, you get better by doing that. So you should be moving on the beat, you should be attacking on the beat, although the attacking is really just you're trying to move into a square where an enemy exists. It's pretty cool. It's a really neat concept, and I get so lost in the music more often than not that I just completely screw up the gameplay.
My big issue with playing something like this is that it's apparently a roguelike, and I am not a fan of most roguelikes.
Yes, it is a roguelike because every dungeon is procedurally generated. It's never the same thing. So yeah, if you die, you can't just go back and memorize where everything is. Like you need to. It's less about memorizing a map and more about memorizing how to defeat certain enemies, because there are some enemies that are really obvious and really easy to defeat. You just walk into them and they die. But then you've got things like the dragons or the bulls or the minotaurs that they have a pattern, and they're big and they do a lot of damage. So you need to understand like how to avoid. It's almost like a Mega Man game. If you made Mega Man procedurally generated and rhythm based, I guess.
Yeah. See, that is a no-no for me.
Fair.
I am kind of a stickler. There's very, very few games that will lead me off the beaten path of structure. I like structure in a game. I like not procedurally generated, where it's like, this is the game. It's going to always be this way. You have to figure out how to play through it.
Yeah. There's something to be said for the replay value on the procedurally generated stuff.
Oh, for sure.
And now that I think of it, I almost basically described another game on Steam, Mega Man procedurally generated, not rhythm-based. There's a game called 20XDX, 20XX, and you can play it multiplayer. So like I think it's local co-op, but it's basically Mega Man. Like you go through levels, you beat bosses, you get powers, and then you go back to base, and you can choose one of like 3 levels to go through. But every time you go through a level, it's completely different.
Right.
It's pretty hard, but it's pretty fun.
That sounds like nails on a chalkboard to me.
That's fair. So what isn't nails on the chalkboard though is this game.
Yes.
Just to read Kevin's testimonial here, he says, Crypt of the Necrodancer was one of my favorite games and soundtracks when it came out back in 2015, and I was thrilled to learn there'd be a Zelda-themed Necrodancer follow-up after it had been announced. It's wonderful to hear the same fast-paced, danceable style applied to many different themes from the Zelda series, and the Overworld theme is probably one of the best tracks that best illustrates this. It incorporates themes from Link's Awakening, the Tal Tal Mountains theme, Ocarina of Time, the Hyrule Field theme, the original Legend of Zelda Overworld theme, Wind Waker's sailing theme, and possibly others that I haven't placed yet. They all blend and transition into each other extremely well, and the upbeat arrangement and brisk tempo always puts a smile on my face when I hear it. It's hard not to dance along to this track when it comes on. I have to agree, Kevin.
I totally agree. Just to wrap up with the composers, Minako Hamano started off with Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. That was her first game in 93, and then followed it up with Super Metroid, little game called Super Metroid in 1994.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, right. She's done other stuff, mostly in the Metroid series, but just to keep this brisk, Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D, worked on the music for that, and also Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze did the music for that in 2014.
Interesting.
Along with David Wise.
Yes. So before we move on, I just want to give a shout out to Kevin. Kevin's somebody that I knew back in high school, and he used to throw the best Super Smash Brothers parties. So I'm glad to know that he's a listener, and I'm glad to play some great music suggested by him.
For sure. Yeah. Thanks, Kev. So before we have Janine roll the dice again, we're going to play a commercial.
This is your pick.
This is my pick, my first pick. This is from episode 2, which was the Toa Plan episode, the company. It's called Crazy Cats, I guess is the best way to explain it. So I guess we'll go ahead and listen to that.
Yes.
Hey there, me Crazy Cats from Crazy Cats Space Corporeum. Probably remember that guy once time. Better have I begun to fury. Life changed for great justice. Tired of my story? Are you a real human people? Things happen in car for you. Wanna buy? Space Corporeum is best in show. Best sale for every person in existence. Credit cheap, A-OK partner. Selling one of the top Zig space combat vehicle just for everybody. No zenny down. Interest none for all but 6 months. Work out best deal of lifetime. Come on down and shine. Crazy Cat's gonna make you celebrity plus ultra for all time.
Crazy Cat Space Carporium. Help us move Zig for great justice.
Good time.
Oh man, that is like a face melter there. Obviously very heavily vocoded. In fact, listening to it again, I think that was my big worry. We were very conscious of sound when starting the show, and we didn't really have a groove down yet for how we recorded, how we did audio for the most part.
And this is only episode 2, so.
Yeah, this was only episode 2, so and I was still pretty nervous too, because I was working with somebody brand new on a podcast. I obviously had several years of experience with the podcast. Now I'm jumping in with Justin, who only did a few episodes on my previous podcast, Pixel Tunes Radio. So I was nervous for both of us, and then I was more nervous for me, and I would I remember when we recorded that first episode, I definitely felt super, super nervous. And it worked out great. And, I would say the first 20 episodes have some awkward, weird sound issues. But I think by episode, I'd say 20 or 21, we really nailed it down. We figured out what works. and what sounds the best. And since then, in my opinion, the shows sounded perfect. So
Yeah. I don't remember when it was that we ended up getting the mixer and the microphones, but I mean, there was a pretty big bump in our sound, in our production value there. And then again, like I don't remember where we made these transitions, but when we changed the way that we did editing and like leveling and whatnot, and like once we made that change, things got a lot better as well. So
yeah, just simple growing pains, and you live and you learn. We are not perfect, but we try to put on the best possible show for you guys. This is our thanks to you for sticking by us for 50 episodes, and hopefully you'll be here for 50 more.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Regarding the commercial, I just wanted to say my favorite line is "Come on down and shine." Just because it doesn't make any sense with
so much of that was a lot of fun to write and record, because I think the writing was a lot of us going back and forth on really just not really nonsense phrases, but like phrases that you might find in like a really bad English translation. My favorite line is "Are you a real human people?" And we were trying to get that to be like an inside joke. Yeah, they were trying to slip that into every episode.
Yeah, it was like something that you said on the first episode.
Did I?
If I recall.
Oh, yeah, I think it was I stumbled over my words and said that, and I think it might have been an outtake or something.
Yeah, I think it was.
Or no, we left it in because we wanted to try to make it a thing. So we put it in the commercial here. It was in a couple episodes, and then we just kind of dropped it because
we just kind of dropped it.
Felt forced.
It was like that and the shamisen were like the
shamisen. The shamisen is just serendipitous. Like we keep finding it.
yeah, it just haunts us. All right, let's have Janine pick another track for us so we can go to the next person.
Right. So this one is going to be Sam Thomas's pick. This is Double Dragon Neon, which came out on the PS3 and Xbox 360 in 2012, and Windows in 2014. The track is End Credits, also called Dared to Dream, and it is composed by Jake Kaufman.
Welcome back. That was Double Dragon Neon, He-Man.
Yeah.
That one came out on the PlayStation 3, the Xbox 360, and Windows in 2012 and 2014, respectively. That was the end credits, also known as Dared to Dream. It's by one of my favorite composers, Jake Kaufman.
Yeah, spot on with that Skeletor thing. I was actually fairly convinced that they got the voice actor for Skeletor in to do this, so I was taking a look at things, and my Skeletor, anyway, is Alan Oppenheimer. That's probably also your Skeletor, I'm assuming.
Yes.
And the voice is so spot on. Dan Milano does a pretty good impression. He often voices Skeletor on Robot Chicken, so I thought maybe it was one of them, but according to the game credits, Skullmageddon is the final boss here. Giga Skullmageddon, and he is voiced by a man named Sean Velasco. So, Sean...
Who is the director of the game.
Yep. So, Sean, you do a damn good Skeletor impression.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, wow. Have you played this game?
I have not. It seems like fun.
Oh, my goodness. Dude, we need to play this. It is so much fun. I've played it multiplayer as well. It's a lot of fun. So, this is kind of like a, I guess, reboot of the Double Dragon series in a way, because the series was first owned by Technos Japan, and then I guess it was sold to a company named Million, and then they sold it to Arc System Works, I guess? I don't know. But anyway, Arc System Works essentially hired developer Way Forward to do a Double Dragon reboot, if you will. So they did, and it was phenomenal. It was super hypercharged with Way Forward's patented style of over-the-topness, I guess you would say. It's very, very 80s. A lot of references to the 80s, especially in the music. I believe we may have talked about this episode on like a Patreon live show, if I recall. But it's a lot of fun, and the controls are tight, the gameplay's fun. It's just a really nice return to form for Double Dragon. The plot is very similar to the first one, but the bad guy has changed to this Skullmageddon guy who is obviously a Skeletor ripoff.
Oh, yeah.
You're playing as Billy Lee or Jimmy Lee, and they are trying to rescue Billy's girlfriend, Marion. Yeah. And so you're going through all different types of levels, streets, dojos, countrysides, laboratories, graveyards, all sorts of crazy stuff, and then you end up fighting in a space station. Yeah, really, really fun game. Highly, highly recommended. So I can understand why this was picked by our listener.
100%. The game sounds way crazy and a lot of fun. I agree. We should try to play this next time we get a chance.
Yeah.
But this song was just fantastic. Like, having the final boss, some form of Skeletor, singing this song about how he's going to be back and how you beat him and all this other stuff is hilarious. And the song itself is really, really rocking. So... kudos, like 100%. This is awesome.
Yeah, no, the humor is great in this game. Just everything about it is phenomenal.
Yeah. Looks like Janine is trying to flag us down on this. I think we have an audio testimonial this time around.
Sounds about right. So let's go ahead and give it a listen.
Hey guys, I want to share a song that I really liked from the Double Dragon Neon soundtrack by Jake Kaufman. You may also know him from the game Shovel Knight. He's a really great composer. He did a remix of Crypt the Necrodancer. He's on the Balance and Ruin Final Fantasy VI remix soundtrack, and really great composer. Check him out. I also would recommend the whole album from Double Dragon Neon. So this song is from the end credits. Spoiler alert, the bad guy sings it to you after you beat him. He was the voice actor for Skeletor from He-Man, and he's got a really distinctive voice. So I hope you enjoy it, and thanks for playing my song. See you later, Sam.
Well, thanks, Sam, for the request. It's definitely one of my favorites. And how dare you not mention Shantae? If you're mentioning Jake Kaufman, you gotta mention Shantae.
That's got some
number one rule.
Fantastic music, yes.
Awesome composer. Just all around. Sam got it right. So, good stuff. Good job, Sam. All right, Janine, roll those dice. All right, next up we got Chris Murray's pick, which is from a game that came out on the Switch as well as the Wii U, and it's called Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE or hashtag FE or pound sharp FE Encore. This track is Special Battle, also known as Dual Battle, and it came out in 2020 on the Switch, and it's by Yoshiaki Fujisawa.
All right, welcome back. That was Chris Murray's pick, Dual Battle from Tokyo Mirage Sessions hashtag FE Encore, which came out in the Wii U in 2016 and the Switch in 2020 and was composed by Yoshiaki Fujisawa.
Yep, and that was his only game, just for the record.
Yes.
So we talked about this one way back on episode 1.
Yeah, I believe you picked a track from this game, or at least the Wii version of the game.
Yeah, that was an interesting episode. I mean, you know, it was an idea. I don't know how we came up with it, but we were like, yeah, let's do Evolution of Nintendo music. And it worked out. Yeah. I thought it was a pretty good episode. I mean, aside from some sound issues or whatnot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, episode 1 is always going to sound very different from episode 50. I mean, especially if you are doing the thing that most podcasters do and bettering yourself and your podcast throughout the process. And I mean, at the time we were using a Yeti mic, which I am using right now, but that's extraneous circumstances. Right. But so we had that, and that was really it. It was that to your laptop, and now we have, you know, a mixer, a couple of mics, 3 mics actually, so that we can have a total of 3 people like we did for the Sierra episode.
The Sierra episode, yeah.
And we can, you know, take on guests from over the internet. Our first couple of interviews, people had to record stuff and then send it to us, and we had to merge it.
Yeah, it was such a pain. So this is just so much easier with a mixer.
Yeah.
I highly recommend anyone who's looking to do a video game music podcast and they're looking to interview people on the internet, definitely get a mixer.
Yes.
Anyways, this song.
This track, yeah.
Yeah, good pick. It kind of reminds me of, like, there's those, like, air raid sirens.
Yeah, right in the beginning. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, there's, like, the sirens in the beginning, and then right after that, it's like a mechanical siren.
Okay. So, yeah, then what we were talking about is exactly the same thing, because what you hear as, like, an air raid siren, I was hearing as, like, an engine revving up.
Yeah, I was hearing sirens, you know, when it's like...
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. But I get engines as well. That does make sense.
Fair enough.
And then right after that sounds like, I don't know, music that like supermodels would like work out to in the 80s, you know, the do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah, no, I could see that. It kind of felt a little like classic RPG or classic JRPG, almost like End of Battle into a fanfare, but only at times. Like overall, I thought the entire track was really rocking. It had some chuggy guitars. It was really cool overall. Like, thank you, Chris Murray, for bringing this to our ears.
Yeah, for sure. It was a good track.
Yeah.
So what did Chris say about this track?
So Chris wrote to us and said, I picked up Tokyo Mirage Sessions #FE Encore, sigh that title, because I absolutely love the Fire Emblem series and the associated characters. I've never played a Shin Megami Tensei game, but figured a turn-based RPG with Fire Emblem elements couldn't be bad. I mean, it's not a bad game, but it is super weird. I won't bother trying to explain the plot, but the story is out there. All in all, I blew through this game, beat it, and sold it. I'm glad to have played it, but I don't think I'll ever revisit it, nor did it make me want to play more Shin Megami Tensei games. Still have never played a Persona game either. This game is all about the music. That's a huge part of the story, and while some of it has some nice J-pop elements, you wind up hearing some of the tracks a lot. It's a grindy game. This special battle track was one of my favorites, and I hope you guys enjoy it too.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say we did.
Certainly did.
Chris? Yeah. So this game, Tokyo Mirage Sessions #FE Encore, was originally released on the Wii U, then got ported to the Switch, as a lot of stuff did. This game is, I guess you play as like a pop star. You're like modeling clothes or something like that. I don't know. It's basically Fire Emblem and Shin Megami Tensei combined into this new story that they tried to do. And I remember seeing trailers for this game for the Wii U and thinking, this kind of piques my interest, but I have no idea what's going on in this cartoon.
Yeah.
And so after a couple other additional trailers, and then even after the game came out and they were, a lot of places reviewed it, I was still completely clueless. I was just like, what game? Like,
what
kind of game is this?
Yeah. I remember we talked about that a little bit back in that first episode. It sounds like for all the advertising and everything else that they tried to do with the game, they did not get a very clear picture across. But the people that like it really seem to like it.
All right, so Janine is going to roll the dice for our next listener.
All right. Looks like Janine is telling us that it's going to be Nick Chuzas' pick next, and that is going to be We All Become from the game Transistor, which came out on PC and Mac computer systems and the PS4 in 2014 and the Switch in 2018. It was composed by Darren Korb with Ashley Barrett on vocals.
When you speak, I hear silence. Every word a defiance. I can hear, I can hear. Think I'll go where it suits me. Moving out to a
Hey, welcome back to XVGM Radio's 50th episode. That was Transistor. That track was We All Become, and this came out on multiple different consoles, PC and Mac in 2014 and 2018. That was by Darren Korb with Ashley Barrett on vocals. So what do you think of this one?
I really like it, actually. I'm going to take a look and see if Ashley Barrett has other media that I can consume, because I thought her voice was pretty amazing.
Yeah, she had a pretty good voice. I mean, kind of raspy at points.
Yeah.
Kind of like crackly raspy.
I think it fits. Having
Breathy.
played the game, I think it fits completely with the style.
For sure.
Have you played it?
Yeah, I've played it. Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of music that I consume that has vocals that sound very similar to hers, and I just like it.
Yeah, I mean, the whole like electronic industrial breakbeat thing is cool to listen to. It's not something that really draws me in, but it kind of reminds me of like a car commercial. I hate to reference our first episode when
twice
was
in one
talking about
episode,
that.
man.
I know. But it does kind of remind me of like that music that would play in, like, I don't want to say it's forgettable, but it's like you've heard it before, you know what I mean? So like that whole backbeat, yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't do anything for me personally, but it's enjoyable, fun to listen to, but it just doesn't grip me. But I really did like the vocals.
Yeah. I very much enjoyed the vocals. I enjoyed a lot of the music as well. I'm a sort of a sucker for anything that uses a piano well, and I thought that this used a piano to great effect. I liked the way that it opened, and I also noticed as we were going through the track, there's some of the music is in stereo. Like I was only hearing in my right ear what I think are like electronic sounding strings. Like it sounded like cello or something like that, but through an amplifier, so it had this like electronic buzzing attached to it, and I thought that was just really cool.
I just think those drums were super over the top loud for me.
Oh.
So it was like anything else kind of faded into the background. I knew there was like a twinkly kind of piano there, but I didn't hear any of that, what you were describing. So maybe that's...
Are your headphones okay?
Just my... Yeah. Maybe it's my brain. My brain is broken. Transistor is an action RPG. It's kind of like a isometric perspective, kind of like Diablo a little bit.
Yep.
It's about this girl, Red, is being chased down, and she has this sword that kind of like has its own like funny quips and personality, likes to joke around, so kind of takes some of the seriousness of the chase aspect away. And I didn't get very far in it, to be honest. I think I have it on PS4 digitally, and I just never really sat down and played through it. But I remember playing like the beginning for probably a good 20 minutes or so and really enjoying it. So
yeah, no, it's really neat. Like the aesthetic is kind of like 1920s meets like
cyberpunk.
Weird, like weird cyberpunk type future.
Like not like Batman Art Deco animated series, not like that. Because that's like 20s mixed with
I suppose.
Yeah.
But the character feels very much like a jazz singer from like the 20s, maybe 30s. But yeah, I mean, that's the main character, Red. She's a famous singer in the city, and then the game starts out with an attack by a group called The Process, which they're all robots, so that's where all the cyberpunk type stuff comes in. And it's just a lot of like I thought the gameplay was kind of interesting. The combat system was kind of neat. I need to go back and finish it. I want to say I'm a couple hours into it, and I just haven't gone back. It's from the same studio or the same company that brought us Bastion way back, and I thought that was a really cool game too.
Yeah, they worked on Bastion, Transistor, and Pyre, which was also worked on by Darren Korb.
Yep.
That last one.
Yeah, that one's kind of interesting too. I haven't played a whole lot of it because it's sort of like a sports game. It's not like it's its own sport, I guess you could say, but it plays like you have a team and you're playing this game, I think, to try to win your freedom or something. It's neat, but it just, I was not in the mood for that type of a thing when I got it.
Yeah. And has Darren Korb done anything else?
Aside from Bastion, Transistor, and Pyre, he did a track called Impossible on Amplitude in 2016. And he also has a special thanks in A City Sleeps from 2014.
Okay. So Nick Chuzas, he wrote, the song occurs fairly early in the game and is used as the backstory for why the main character Red is mute, and also serves to explain why she has a talking sword. The game, for the most part, has a very mellow sound and feel to it, So this song, being a bit of a higher tempo, is a welcome change. This song occurs just before the first boss and gets the blood pumping. Very cool. So now we have a little bit of backstory and information on when that song plays.
Very, very early on.
So now we're going to take a minute to listen to a commercial.
Oh, yes.
A little nostalgic throwback. This one wasn't too far back, though.
No. So this is my second pick. Well, we can talk more about it when we come back, but this is from episode 32, and this is the Knuckles Gym commercial.
Hey everybody, it's your boy Knuckles. I got my own gym now, and a membership is at a year-round low price. Tired of walking around with your rotund Robotnik hanging out of those shorts? Want to catch some rays this summer and show off your rock-hard knucks for all the Princess Sallies and Rouge the Bats of Mobius? Head on down to my gym where we have state-of-the-art equipment. We're ready to sculpt your body so that all the honeys will come out to your party. Don't be afraid to show off your Chaos Emeralds on the beach after 1 month working out at my gym. You'll be more super than Sonic. Join Knuckles Gym today for 100 rings down and 10 a month. 1 year contract required for all new members. Don't forget about Chili Dog Fridays, where one Friday a month we offer chili dogs for all your hedgehogs. Act fast. This deal's gotta go by September 23rd.
I remember writing that one with the mental note that I had was about that Sonic Boom cartoon, how they made Knuckles like all jacked.
Meathead, yeah.
So that was kind of where I was going with this when I wrote it. But I think you came up with the idea for a gym.
It might be. So the reason that I picked this one, the reason that this one is one of my favorites is because it's a well-composed script, and it's one of the few times that I actually got to do a voice and didn't like feel silly or weird about it. Like it just worked. And then when I did the editing, I dropped the pitch on it. We got a few comments about that in Discord and Facebook. I got a lot of positive feedback on it. So, it's partly one of my favorites because I'm in it. It's also partly one of my favorites because it reminds me that sometimes things go well.
That's one of the few commercials that I'm not in. Now that I think about it, I think that's the only one that you did solo. I don't think there's any that I did solo. I think you've been in almost every commercial.
Yeah, no, I think there's one or two that you've done solo, but for the most part, usually you do whatever voices, and I do the announcer at the end.
Right. I think it works out really well. So, all right, let's move into our next fan pick.
All right, Janine, let us have it.
All right, so it looks like the pick for this is Bedroth, who has chosen Super Mario Galaxy 2. The track is Cloud Court Galaxy, which is also known as Fluffy Bluff Galaxy. Came out on the Wii and the Wii U in 2010 and 2015. The composer on this is Mahito Yokota, Ryo Nagamatsu, and Koji Kondo. And we'll listen to the track right now.
Welcome back to XVGM Radio. That was Super Mario Galaxy 2, which came out in the Wii and the Wii U in 2010 and 2015, respectively. The track was called Cloud Court Galaxy, also known as Fluffy Bluff Galaxy, and it was composed by Mahito Yokota, Ryo Nagamatsu, and Koji Kondo.
Oh, man.
Yes, sirree.
I love this song. I love these two Mario Galaxy soundtracks. They are phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, like, soaring melodies all over the place. Just really awesome classical music. The melodies are really what does it for me. Those really, like, soaring, uplifting melodies, they just get me every time.
Yeah, no, this track does a really good job of conveying clouds. Like, I think even if it hadn't been called Cloud Court Galaxy, I still would have had this image of just, like, skipping through the clouds, like, Kit, what's his name, in Tailspin, just, like Kit Cloud Kicker. Did you never watch Tailspin?
I did.
Is the
random reference?
Yeah, no, he had the surfboard, and he used to surf in the clouds.
Oh, okay then. Well, way to do a 90s cartoon reference, Justin.
Sure.
So this song was picked by Bedroth, and he actually included an audio clip for us to listen to for his testimonial. So let's
give that a listen.
Bedroth here. I thought long and hard about a game and a specific track, but one game stood out above the others for a specific time that I am extremely grateful for. In 2011, I was in the middle of a very dark time in my life. And to keep it simple, I'll just say that I was somewhere with limited ways to be in touch with my family, and all I really had was letters. Well, in one that my wife sent me, there was a picture drawn by my then 5-year-old son. He and I were sitting on the couch, and we each had a Wii remote. The caption at the top read, "Me and Dad playing Super Mario Galaxy 2, and on the TV, Cloud Mario was chasing a rabbit." There was a little thought bubble above my son's head with just the word, "Yay." As I'm sure you can guess, the first game I played with him when I got back home was Super Mario Galaxy 2. We went straight to Fluffy Bluff Galaxy and chased some rabbits. I would like to request Fluffy Bluff Galaxy from Super Mario Galaxy 2, released in 2009 for the Wii and composed by Mahito Yokota.
That is awesome. Yeah, man. I can't identify with it at this point in my life. Plus, I have no idea what was actually going on. Mm-hmm. But based on his description, I can totally see myself in that same situation where I'm like, you get home and you've been gone for a while or whatever, and your kid wants to do something that made him or her happy. You want to do it with them. You want to see that smile on their face.
Yeah.
So I totally get that. This soundtrack is just really like fun and really refreshing and memorable. And to me, it's probably the best Mario music since, I'd say, the Super NES days, in my opinion.
Wow.
Yeah. I think the Galaxy soundtracks are better than Mario 64.
I get that. I mean, with full orchestration and everything else, this really blows a lot of that other stuff out of the water. And I agree. I think a lot of the older, particularly the SNES Mario stuff, holds a special place in our hearts, largely because of nostalgia.
Sure.
But
sure.
at the same time, they also were very well composed. And this is just, it's a different way of doing things. And I think I like it for totally different reasons. But yeah.
Mario Galaxy 2, obviously the sequel to Mario Galaxy 1, had a lot of story in it, and they kind of trimmed the fat this time around, and it still had a bit of a story, but it was a lot more simplified. You can get into the game a lot quicker.
Oh, good.
The game is based on these planets, these planet environments that you move to. And in Galaxy 2, you can also play as Luigi, and you also get Yoshi and everything, so it has more in common with the more old school Mario games. It's not just like, Mario 64 in space, if you will, because I feel like a lot of people felt like that. But the Galaxy craziness, where you're going in circles and moving all around planets and the cameras, not really following you, but it's like staying like sort of there. I don't know. It's kind of complicated to explain, but I thought it controlled well. I thought it played really well, and it was a lot of fun. So the plot on this is just Princess Peach invites Mario to have cake. I don't know. She always is inviting Mario for cake.
I was going to say, wasn't that the plot of Mario 64 in the plot of Super Paper Mario? And
I believe so. So star bits, those little star things that you can pick up, they start raining down from the skies over the Mushroom Kingdom. So Mario finds a little baby star called the Luma, and that gives him the opportunity he uses the baby Luma to spin. Then Bowser shows up and is all Bowsery and attacks the castle and everything. And then he pieces out into outer space, and then you meet up with the Lumas and Rosalina from the first Mario Galaxy. She's like the Star Princess. That's pretty much it. I mean, it's a Mario game, so there's not like a ton of plot. All right, let's move into our next pick.
Janine, why don't you go ahead and roll those dice? So, Janine's telling us that Scott is up next. So that's going to be Stage 4 from an NES game called Skyshark. And that came out in 1989 and was composed by Tim Fallon.
Oh man, you just heard Skyshard, which came out on the NES in 1989. That was patron and listener of the show, Scott McElhone's pick, and that was Stage 4 by Tim Follin. I love pretty much almost anything that Tim Follin has put out, so this gets a huge double thumbs up from me.
Yeah.
I really like the part right before the loop where it's like do 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 do, that part. So good.
Yeah, it's funny. I was actually going to mention that too. So, yeah, no, I mean, Tim Follin, we'll talk about him in a bit. I really like the sound font used in this track. It was really cool. The main melody at times was using this really staccato sound, and it almost sounds like a water droplet to me.
Okay.
And I just thought that was really, really neat, or a really interesting choice of sound or instrument.
This sounds like if Tim Follin wrote Mega Man music.
Oh, yeah, I could see that. It's got
right?
Yeah.
It's got that really upbeat sound to it. It's good stuff.
Skyshard, not a game about a flying shark, unfortunately. I know I was disappointed when I looked it up too. It's about an airplane that flies around and shoots things. It's a vertically scrolling shoot 'em up. And just a quick comment about that. I don't know if he did this on purpose or not, but either way, it's getting called out in the show. When Scott wrote in for this, he wrote Shy Shark. So, of course, my first instinct was this shark that was just really shy and, hiding behind rocks and blushing when he's caught. And then it turns out it was Skyshard, and it's actually about a plane.
Now I want to see Shy Shark
Me
the
too.
game. That would be great. And it'd be even greater if Tim Follin wrote the soundtrack to that, too. It'd be all, like, super atmospheric, like, prog metal and prog rock.
Yeah.
It'd be cool. It'd be like the Echo music, like from the Echo game that he did. Echo Defenders of Time or something. The one that came out on the Dreamcast.
Defender of the Future.
That's it, Defender of the Future. Yeah.
But while we're on this topic, we can go over Tim Follin real quick. He started out doing music on a game called Vectron in 1985 and has done so much music since then.
So much.
There's this game, Skyshard, in 1987, Silver Surfer in 1990.
For something newer that he did, his latest game was Lemmings in 2017.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's still
reboot, the dark,
still
gritty reboot of
in the
Lemmings.
game.
Actually, this is the opposite of dark and gritty. This looks cuter than the original.
It does. Super cute.
So Scott wrote into us saying, I absolutely love this OST by Tim Follin. The game is hard as nuts, so having this soundtrack keeping you marching through is critical. If my memory serves, Skyshark was something I got from my grandmother as a Christmas gift. At the time, I was not a big shmup player, so this game was well out of my wheelhouse. But again, that soundtrack hooked me. Once I finally made it to stage 4, that track blew me away. Galloping bass off the bat, and the track just evolves as it goes along. It gives you that sense of ever so close victory, but overlays a sense of urgency. Congrats on 50 episodes, and looking forward to the next 50. Scotty Mac.
Woo woo,
Scotty Mac.
Thank you very much for the support, Scott. We appreciate it. Long-time listener. I really do dig this song.
Yeah.
This could be a contender for me.
Yeah, seriously. Good
It's
pick.
up there.
Good pick.
It's up there. It's up there. All right, so Janine only has a few more tracks to go.
Yeah, we only have 2 people to pick from, so who's
Yeah.
it gonna be, Janine?
All right, so it looks like Janine rolled for Tim Ryan's pick. This is from a game called Aliens. This came out in 1990 on the arcade, and the stage is 3-3, and it's by Masanori Adachi. Welcome back. That was Aliens on the arcade that came out in 1990, and that was stage 3-3 by Masanori Adachi. And wow, what a bass groove. I love that do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. But I also really dig all those crazy, like, almost like sirens going off in the background.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's all FM synth-based stuff, but it just sounded really cool.
Yeah, in the beginning, the bass, the quality of the bass notes actually kind of made it sound like it was being played on almost like an upright bass. There was like a bit of reverb that I wasn't expecting to hear there. But once it got into that bass groove, like you said, it just kind of like took off.
Yeah, it really reminded me of creepy synth music. That you would listen to in like a horror movie. So it kind of does get that Aliens vibe for sure.
Yeah, that's fair. I get like Dark Future out of this.
Yeah, but like, I don't know, because that bass line, I think the thing that changes in that bass line is when that, I want to say it's a triangle, when the triangle comes in, the ding, ding,
oh,
ding,
yeah.
and it kind of mirrors the beat, but like a half step behind with the bass line. It almost acts like a cymbal in a way, but it's a triangle, or it sounds like a triangle. And that really kind of gives it more of a laid back kind of vibe. Really kind of lightened up the track a little bit for me at least, but I really dug this. It was really well done. So Masanori Adachi, we've talked about before on the podcast, started off his first game with Russian Attack in 1987. I'll pick a couple other random games. Red Ninja End of Honor in 2005 was the audio composer on that. International Track and Field in 1996, they did sound treatment. And Dylan's Rolling Western in 2012, they did sound effects on.
Very cool.
Yeah, so this is an Aliens game based on the second movie in the Alien franchise. And it's, I guess you would say it's a beat 'em up, or run and gun, beat 'em up, kind of shoot 'em up sort of thing. This track was picked by Tim Ryan, and Tim wrote, "Hi there. My submission for your 50th episode comes from the 1990 arcade game Aliens, based on James Cameron's incredible film of the same name. In a time of the fun, catchy NES tunes I was typically accustomed to, I will always remember my little 6th grade self playing this in our local mall's arcade, finding myself genuinely creeped out by the eerie and rather atmospheric soundtrack that accompanies your journey, and I absolutely loved it. This particular track, my favorite from the game, plays after disembarking in an elevator and beginning a descent into the nesting grounds, which is filled with cocooned colonists who are suffering the gruesome fates of the alien chestbursters." Indeed, Aliens is a great movie for sure, and I'll be honest, I haven't spent that much time with this game. I have played it, but very briefly, and I thought it was pretty cool. I think I downloaded it on MAME, and I had fun with it, but I never really sat down and really played through it. So maybe I'll do that at some point in the near future, but I was really impressed by this track.
Nice. Yeah, most of my familiarity with the series comes from, for one, my dad loves the Alien movies. I'm not sure how far into it he went. I don't know if he's seen much of the newer stuff, but I know when I was a kid growing up, he had the VHS for Alien, the VHS for Aliens, and I know we had watched the third Alien movie on HBO or something a handful of times. I remember enjoying, for the most part, the third one because it was more action based than horror or anything. So as a kid, it wasn't as bad.
Right. My dad wouldn't let me see Alien 3. I remember, I think he rented it on Laserdisc because we had a Laserdisc.
My dad did too. Yep.
Yeah. He would not let me watch it. He was like, "No."
Did he let you watch the first two?
I never saw any.
Oh, okay. The way that you said that, I was like, he let you watch the first two, but not the third one?
No. First time I saw an Alien movie was, I want to say, either high school or college. I saw all of them. Well, I saw Alien, Alien 2, or Aliens rather, and then I think I saw Alien 3.
Okay.
Yeah, and Alien 3 is okay. I mean, I didn't really, it was alright. I like the first two better.
Yeah, that's fair. I prefer the third one mostly because I'm not really a fan of scary movies, horror, thrillers, whatever. I enjoy them overall, and the first two Alien movies were great. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know, there was more going on. It was more actiony. I'm a simple man with simple needs.
I see. Okay, then. So, the last pick that we're going to listen to, because it's the only one we got left, is from Chris Myers. And he picked a game called Lunar 2 Eternal Blue. This came out on the Sega CD in 1995. This is the boss theme, and it's by Noriyuki Iwadare.
right. Welcome back, and thank you for staying tuned to the end of our 50th episode, our listener celebration, where we have been playing only tracks picked by listeners. This was Chris Myers' pick, and that was Lunar Eternal Blue, which came out in the Sega CD in 1995. The track was called Boss Theme, also known as Fierce, and it was composed by Noriyuki Iwadare.
I was digging this track. It was a lot of fun. Very clearly like a boss theme, if you will.
Definitely a fighting theme.
Oh, for sure. A lot of the music in Lunar is kind of all over the place. It hits all the beats that a traditional JRPG does. Mm-hmm. You've got your town themes, you've got your exploratory themes, you've got your hopeful, dramatic themes, you've got your introduction themes, and of course, you've got your boss themes. And I remember playing Lunar Silver Star Story Complete on the PS1. That was my first Lunar experience. And really digging the boss music. Very catchy stuff. Noriyuki Iwadare is a great composer, has done a lot of really good soundtracks, and this one is very clearly no different. But I was really feeling the beginning part where the music drops off, where it's like da-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na. Like, that's... I love it when music does that, because it creates almost like a groove in a way where you could turn that into anything. Like, you could turn it into a rap beat. You could play it, turn it into a metal piece. You could turn it into what it's supposed to be, which is a classical music piece. You could really use it. It's very versatile. You could use that little part in almost anything, and it's very malleable, if you will.
Yeah. No, that's fair. When the music cuts out like that, I believe it is intended to create tension, which is what I thought you were going for, and then you went in a completely different direction.
Totally different direction.
I think it does create a decent amount of tension, especially like right there in the beginning. You got the sort of like the drum roll, the da 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 da. And it works for what it needs to do. I definitely enjoy the amount of tension that they build over the course of the song. Like I said, it sounds like a fight song. It's obviously a boss theme. It sounds kind of like it's somewhere between like a boss theme and a harder fight theme, almost maybe like a mid boss.
Yeah, it's more menacing than a regular battle theme.
Oh yeah.
So this song's also called Fierce. It kind of lives up to that name. It is a very fierce track.
Yeah, I'd agree to that.
I've never played Lunar 2 or Lunar Eternal Blue, or it's kind of confusing, all the names that this game has. It's officially Lunar Eternal Blue on the Sega CD.
Yep.
And everywhere else it's Lunar 2 Eternal Blue Complete or whatever. This is a JRPG series. I've not played the second one in any way, shape, or form. I actually, probably within the last 6 to 8 months, I picked up Lunar 2, the PS1 version, which is the Eternal Blue Complete.
Right.
Yeah, because I was a huge fan of Silver Star Story back in the day. I got it when it came out, and I loved it.
Yeah.
So Lunar is a game arts game, and it is kind of like a working designs baby. They're very well known for their incredible physical packages for games. They were doing collector's editions before anybody was.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much. So that's kind of what really clued me into Lunar. Is I was like, man, you get all this cool stuff. I gotta get it. You get this stuff. Hey, Dad, come here. Check this out. I don't know why I had that accent, but apparently I did. What did Chris say about this track that he picked?
Oh, so he was a man of very few words. He sent us this request saying, boss theme from Lunar 2 Eternal Blue on the Sega CD. The superior version of the game. I don't care what anyone says. The remake is just not as good.
Wow, throwing down the gauntlet there, Chris. Okay. All right, respectable. I listened to both versions, and I like both versions. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with either version. I think both are good. Game-wise, I don't know. So he may be right that the Sega CD version is better, but personally, I'm a bigger fan of the Lunar Silver Star Story Complete than Lunar, because I have played the Sega CD version. It's just not as good in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I think he was specifically talking about the gameplay, just like calling it the superior version of the game. I've listened to some of the music from Lunar 2 on Sega Saturn or PS1 or whatever, and I mean, sound quality wise, I think that stuff sounds a little bit better, because I think that's all live, or that's all actually orchestrated, whereas this is produced.
Right. This is more using PCM.
Right, exactly. Right. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and I think this sounds really good. I actually really enjoyed the song, but listening to this song and the same song from the Sega Saturn, I found myself preferring the Sega Saturn version.
Gotcha. Just before we pick our favorite tracks, real quick, Noriyuki Uedare. We kind of touched on him a little bit, but just to go over some games that he's done. Wings of War in 1991, he was the music composer. Gleylancer, which has a great soundtrack, 92. He also did in 92 Steel Empire, which has a really good soundtrack on the Genesis. And let's go to their latest, which is Atelier Firis, The Alchemist and the Mysterious Journey. In 2017, they did a track called Beyond the Tempest.
Very cool. Before we jump into anything else, Mike, I think you have one more commercial pick to play for folks.
Right. How could I forget? Let's listen to the final commercial that we're going to be showcasing today. This is from episode 10. So going way back to the episode that we did with Avalanche Jared, or Avalanche Reviews. And this is the Zombie Gone commercial. Let's take a listen.
Boy, Jill, this mansion sure is big and open-ended. Plenty of room to walk around in.
You said it, Barry. Thank goodness I brought the Zombie Gone.
Zombie Gone? What's that?
Well, you know how you just killed 5 gross zombie spiders, 15 zombie scientists, and 3 zombie sharks?
Yeah? What about it?
Well, to be honest, those guts sure do smell.
Really? I didn't notice.
Like my grandpa's breath after an onion party.
What exactly is an onion party?
Don't worry about it.
Nah, I'm genuinely confused. Do you just rub onions all over yourself? Or do you just eat nothing but onion-based content?
Really feel like you're fixating on the wrong portion of the discussion here, Barry.
Sorry, Jill.
Anyways, spray some of the zombie gone on someone who's recently been covered by zombie guts, and they start smelling great in less than 5 minutes guaranteed. Here, watch.
5 minutes later.
Well, do I smell?
Like a bowl of cinnamon and pumpkin spice.
Awesome.
Yep, Zombie Gone also comes in Christmas pine scent, ocean breeze for the summer, and of course cotton candy for the kids.
Wow, thanks, Jill.
No, thank Bloomco.
Yes, Bloomco's Zombie Gone is sold at all Tide Raid, Dahlgreens, and VCS stores. Get it now for only $5.99 a bottle. Please note, do not spray directly in eyes or on nipples. Do not spray on zombies directly, as it does act as an exploding device on living dead flesh. Children in Utah, get your parents' permission to use. Zombie Gone comes with all you see here. Batteries not included.
Oh, man. I love that commercial. That might be one of my favorite commercials I've ever written.
Yeah, that one was pretty good.
It definitely skirts the line between commercial and skit, but I think it's more commercial. That was the big focus when we started XVGM, is we really wanted the commercials to be commercials.
For actual products.
Yeah, actual products. So Zombie Gone just really fit. And we got to give a shout out to Candy's Game Shrine again for providing the voice of Jill Valentine. She did a great job.
She did.
And you reprised your role of Barry from my Dude You Haven't Played This Game review.
Yes, it's a recurring role apparently.
Yeah. No, I really think that you nail Barry's voice like whenever you do it. It's very like, oh man.
Like half out of breath.
It's like borderline Nicolas Cage, but with more beard and
fair. Okay.
With more beer.
More beer.
I don't know.
Nicolas Cage
more
plus beer.
All right, so now we're gonna pick our favorite tracks that you guys picked. So I'm gonna let Justin go first. Would you pick? Yeah.
I think currently I'm trying to decide between Celeste, Cadence of Hyrule, Skyshark, and Transistor. I'm gonna have to go with that Star Jump track. Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
It was really good. It was a great track. Just the whole soundtrack.
The whole thing where it kind of sounded like Tron for a bit. Just really kind of got me.
Yeah, for me, it's tough. I'm torn between the Aliens track, the Mario Galaxy 2 track, and the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 track.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the Mario Galaxy 2.
Okay.
That song just is so uplifting, and I love the melody behind it. That Aliens bass groove almost won me over.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Every single one of these was good for different reasons. So again, thank you to all of our listeners that wrote in and worked with us to get a testimonial and make sure that we had the right song and everything else. So thank you guys.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. And you made a great episode even greater.
Yes. So we'd like to take a moment to thank our Patreon patrons, without whom this show's continued improvement would be impossible. They are Alex Messenger, Scott McElhone, Cam Worma, Chris Hart, Dan Lawton, Chris Murray, Kung Fu Carlito of the Heroes 3 podcast, Jordan and Anson Davis, Chris Myers, Llama Adam, Jeremy Rutz, Peter Panda, Bedroth of the Very Good Music VGM podcast, Jason Super Jess Doss, Nick Davis, Matthew Hanola, Brad Austin, Mixmaster, and the Autistic Gamer 89. If you would like to become a patron, you can sign up at patreon.com/xvgmradio. There you can see the different tiers as well. Just $1 gets you a thank you and access to our monthly live shows.
You can visit our website, xvgmradio.com, where you can listen to all the episodes and learn more about your hosts, as well as any of our guests or composers that we've had on the show.
If you'd like to reach out to us, you can always email us at xvgmradio@gmail.com.
And if you'd like what you've heard, please consider giving us a rating on iTunes and a review.
You can also join our Facebook group and chat with other VGM lovers at www.facebook.com/groups/xvgmradio, where we talk about everything from current game news to sharing awesome VGM tracks, or just talking about the podcast itself.
And you can find us on Twitter and Instagram. Our handle for both of those sites is at XVGM Radio.
If you don't have any other social media or just want to try something unique, check us out on our Discord group chat. Links will be in the show notes.
All right, Justin, 2 weeks. We're coming around the bend. We're starting our next 50 episodes. What are we going to kick it off with in 2 weeks?
So I've been doing a lot of thinking about this, and I've decided I am not telling. Y'all are going to have to wait.
Telling?
No, y'all are going to have to wait until the episode. It is a super secret surprise. I think people are going to be blown away by just the content of this episode, and it's going to be way better if it's all a surprise. So I'm not telling. You can't make me.
Oh, man. Well, you're the one that closes out the episode. You got to tell. So if you're not telling, I guess we'll see everybody in 2 weeks.
Yup. Stick around.
All right. Well, we'll see you in 2 weeks for a surprise.
This is Mike
and Justin
signing off for XVGM Radio.
Welcome back. That was Kevin Lundberg's pick, Cadence of Hyrule, which was the Switch game that came out in which was the Switch.
Oh. You can get the power armor that Ripley has, the yellow
the loader
armor.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
The one where she's like, get away from me, you
get away from her.
Or yeah, that's right. She goes, get away from her, you
beep
jerk face.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what she says. So
yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon.
Yeah. I don't want no more monkey fighting snakes on this Monday to Friday plane.
Yes.
TV edits. So anyways, this is, I believe, the Sega CD version specifically. Yep. But this game also came out on the PS1 in 1999, and the PS3, the PSP, and the PS Vita. I believe it also came out on the Sega Saturn as well. And this is by Noriyuki Idarwe. This is the boss theme. And there you go. I'm going to redo this. This was terrible. All right.